You know, we're just two guys who love games, who stream and have a good time with it. And I think it's going to be a more casual conversation.
You never leaned into the criticism. The more you pushed against them, the worse and worse they became. And I'm personally of the opinion that if you had just learned to laugh at yourself a little earlier on, then it would never have gotten this bad. Because
you know, the reason I'm not on Twitch right now, my detractors made like a mega cut of all the things that I used to say and do in like 2010. You know, a joke about Nazis that's really bad and I never should have made. I had a fan for years. He's the nicest guy in the chat, like a pedophile.
I think you as a content creator, a streamer, however you want to style yourself, has a responsibility to the people who pay your bills to protect them from people like that. I think that if it took you a long time from when they first told you to you banning them, that's a pretty big moral failing, in my opinion.
Phil gets beat up by Tolo for an hour, and Phil takes it like a bitch.
Hello?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes, but you are very low, so hold on one second. Let's do some adjustments here. And likely I have to adjust your volume level in my setup. So let's see. Here we go, user volume. All the way up. Let's see how that sounds now. Hello, sir.
How about now?
That is much, much, much better. Excellent.
Awesome.
All right, let's just get it actually looking centered here. Oops, on my stream, because I am tiny on the stream. And I don't think there's a way to have us both look equal because you don't have a camera, so I think they do one or the other. If I click on that... Oh, wait. Well, it's going to say just no signal, so I guess I should just go full screen with me. Okay. I think we're good to go. Everyone can hear us, by the way, but we haven't really begun yet.
Alrighty.
I want to figure out how to get this to look a little better on my setup, and then we will begin. Thank you so much for coming on, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Sorry if there's any yodeling dogs in the background. They get feisty during the daytime, so...
Oh, your dogs are awesome, man. I remember seeing your dogs all the time on stream. So cute. I love that.
No, they're not. They're motherfuckers, dude. Don't ever get dogs. There's too many of them. Live in a fucking zoo.
All right, so for the record, we're now live, and I'm going to start recording, and we will begin.
Awesome.
All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us on a special edition of the Level 1 podcast. Today I have a guest. It is the internet streamer, gamer, and Twitch content creator, Tolomeo. Is it Tolomeo or Tolomeo? I always forget how to pronounce it.
It's Tolomeo.
Tolomeo.
My Discord's been laughing at you because you mispronounce it every time.
I do. You're absolutely right. I'm a buffoon. Tolomeo. And
Yeah.
What does that mean? Because I was trying to like find maybe like a thumbnail from your channel to put up during this. And I searched for it on Google, and all I could get was a bunch of lamps. I was like, what the hell is this?
Just a knockoff brand Pixar lamp. I stole it from a video game on the original Xbox. It was a mech game called Phantom Crash, and there was a robot called the Tolomeo. I'm not very creative, so not an exciting story whatsoever.
Cool. Well, first of all, thank you so much for coming on the show. I appreciate it. Your time is valuable, and I've told my audience when I have guests on the show, there's no pop-ups on my channel. I'm not going to be doing shout-outs. I'm not going to be, taking questions. It's just going to be the two of us talking about various things, because just so you know, Tolo, you're basically like the first casual guest that I've had on the show. I've been doing interviews now
What's that supposed to mean?
What I mean is we don't have like any like set agenda. We don't have bad blood. You know what I mean? Like, we're just here to kind of chill and talk. I mean, yeah, we have a little bit of a history that I'd like to touch upon, from years ago. But outside of that, we're just two guys who love games, who stream and have a good time with it. And I think it's going to be a more casual conversation than the other interviews that I've done up to now.
Okay. I don't know. I thought you were calling me a casual in terms of like Dark Souls. I was about to start fighting, dude. This motherfucker.
No, dude, you are. Well, first of all, just so everyone knows the background here, okay? I first learned of Tolo when in 2017, there was a big shift in content creation because YouTube had its adpocalypse, right? And so I had been primarily like just making on-demand videos for my living, but all of a sudden, all of the ad revenue went away. And so I was like struggling. I was like, what am I going to do? So I decided that I was going to become a full-time streamer. And I was streaming on Twitch at the time, and I actually can't exactly remember, Tolo, like the first time that I saw your stream. I don't think you would come on my stream. I think like it had just been like a random recommended stream for me. You know how Twitch sometimes will just say, hey, watch these other guys or whatever.
I mean, I remember exactly what happened if you want me to tell it.
Yeah, go for it, because I don't remember the original story.
All right. So back then, 2017, I was the worst kind of virgin. I still am, but I was back then too. I only played Dark Souls every fucking day. And you know DSP, you know This Is How You Don't Play Dark Souls 2. I knew about you because I would watch This Is How You Don't Play. And I thought you getting fucked up in Dark Souls 2 was the funniest shit ever. Now, in a different time, you would consider me a detractor for that. But I found those videos hilarious. It had never crossed the threshold from like actually having a personal disdain towards you. But I watched the shit out of those. My two favorite streamers at the time were you and Man vs. Game, primarily for the same reason. I don't know if you know who that is.
No, I'm not familiar with that person.
He streamed like 1 million hours, and he took speed to stream like 30 hours, which I think you should do. It would be funny. I want to see that.
I'd probably die.
I think you'd be fine. But anyways, so I had auto host on, and sorry if I go on forever. Streamers are all fucking.
I want to hear. I don't remember this at all, so I'll go for it, man.
So you were a joke in Dark Souls, straight up. Like everyone laughed at your ability to play those games. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It was funny. I can say I didn't have any personal grudge against you, but a lot of people did, and so I hosted only 2 people with auto host. I didn't actively send all of my people there, but after my stream ended, I had 2 people on auto host. You and a woman named Velvet7. Do you know who that is?
No, I don't.
I think you'd really like her. I think you would. She's. I'll leave it at that. But it was kind of a joke. And then one day I was streaming, and it's like darksydephil is auto hosting you. And I'm like, oh shit. Okay, well, I didn't really expect that sort of reaction. Then you came into my chat and you started talking, and I didn't know what to do because. I made fun of you regularly. My favorite was the From Software. That's one of my favorites from you. And it was weird because you came in and you were polite, you were cordial, you were nice. And it's a side that I hadn't seen when you were playing like Castlevania Lords of Shadow, like throwing controllers against the wall. It was humanizing, right?
Right.
So it was strange. And I told you straight up, the first thing I said to you, and I fully expected you to just leave after I said it, is I watch This Is How You Don't Play. I think it's funny. Like I hosted you, and it's just, I didn't want you to get any misunderstandings as to what was going on. Right. And then you'd come into chat and you got along pretty well. It was weird because I would say things like, DSP, you should let me coach you into doing a Bloodborne level 4 run. It would be funny. And you would always swerve me every time. You never committed. But you would be in chat joking all the time. And it was just strange. I don't know. That's how it started from my perspective.
Gotcha. I didn't remember that at all. I remember all the auto hosting stuff that happened on Twitch, but I didn't remember, exactly how it went down. And exactly what you're saying is basically what's been happening recently to me in the last couple of months, is that people always hear or see the worst of me from either This Is How You Don't Play, or now, I hate to say it, it's my detractors now are just absolutely ridiculous. They're A-loggers. They literally just sit there and make the worst compilations that aren't even true. They're completely out of context. They just do whatever they can to make me look like an asshole. Okay.
Sometimes you gotta stop. There are some of them that are like me. Like you would consider me a detractor in a certain sense because I watch those videos. Maybe not now.
No, not anymore. See, you're absolutely right. This is what's happened is in the last 7 years, dude, I have mellowed out. I don't give a shit what people watch. You can make fun of me as much as you want because I've had the worst of it. I've had way worse than that. I got people now who are stalking my family members. I've got people who are, doing crazy shit that you should never do to anyone who's a content creator. And it's like, why would I care if you watched a video that made fun of how bad I am at Dark Souls? I think it's funny. I've actually reacted to some of This Is How You Don't Plays myself and laughed my ass off because they are funny, So I don't think you're a detractor at all because you watch that stuff. The vast majority of people who come and watch me now are people who have seen negative stuff about me and they want to come see the raw content, and then they realize, hey, just like you found out, Phil's actually kind of a chill guy. He's not really, over the top angry all the time. Well, sometimes, exactly.
Not when you play fighting games. You're not very chill when you play fighting
Oh, I
games.
know. Oh, I when I play
That's like the
fighting
last
games.
vestige of that old rage.
That yeah, and you know what? That's part of the reason why I do keep it in the rotation, because a lot of people like to see the old Phil come out, and that's really when it comes out. Outside of that, much other stuff I've really chilled out over the years. All right, so that's great. And what I think we should do, we could transition into kind of,
Really quick.
talking about our history a little bit, how we started to kind of, talk to each other, hang out on each other's streams, and when it ended up happening eventually, because like most things, over the years, people spin the story, or they come from a different perspective. And I just kind of wanted to have the conversation with you to clear the air about what had happened back in, like, I think it was like 2017. I can't remember if even we had continued to like have interactions in 2018.
It was around there.
Yeah. So from my perspective, I thought you were a really cool guy, right? Like, I started
Can I interrupt
watching.
you really quickly?
Oh, what's
I
that?
just want
Okay,
to
go
say,
ahead.
I want to say one thing before we continue on, because
Sure.
I personally, I think that you paint the detractors with too broad of a brush. They're
Hmm.
absolutely the fucking weirdos for sure. But I mean, both times I've interacted with you, some of them came into my chat last night, and initially there was a little bit of acrimony, but there you
Hmm.
talk to them, and it's mostly fine, I think. I think a big problem for you is that you never leaned into the criticism. The more you pushed against them, the worse and worse they became. And I'm personally of the opinion that if you had just learned to laugh at yourself a little
Yep.
earlier on, then it would never have gotten this bad, in my opinion, my
Yeah.
unsolicited opinion towards you. But every time you paint all of the people who have criticism of you as like this monolith of detractors who are all stalking your family, you're going to make it worse every single time you say that.
Yep. And you're right. And just for the record, now when I say detractors, I don't mean people who don't like me. I mean people who stalk me. That's what I'm
Okay.
talking about.
Okay.
I don't care about the criticism anymore. I'm open to it. I mean, I just reacted to a 4-hour documentary about myself that kind of exposed all the messed up stuff I've done over the years, and I agree with all of it. Like, I am in the position I'm in now because originally, when This Is How You Don't Play started, I reacted in the stupidest way. I was so angry at everyone. I was like, "Oh, how dare you use my content without my permission? You're stealing, you're breaking the law." You're right. I should have leaned into it. I should have rolled with it. Hell, I should have made my own compilations and then made fun of myself. And I don't think that it ever would have gotten to the level that it did. But because I was so anti-criticism, right? Anyone who criticized me was the enemy, right? So many people realized, well, wait a minute, it makes him act angry. Then we can make more content out of it. Now we can make more videos. And it just kept rolling and rolling and kept escalating and escalating to the point where it comes to today. So
Yeah.
no, I'm well aware that I am, when I
Would,
say detractors, absolutely not. I don't mean people who criticize me or laugh at me or make fun of me. People are welcome to do that. I do it myself now. I've changed for the better in that regard. But when I say
okay.
detractors, I mean the extreme cases.
All right. Would you say the only thing you've leaned into is banning people then? You like
What
the
do you
lean
mean
in
by that?
ban? Your
Oh, the
lean in
lean
ban
manual
thing.
man.
Yeah, yeah. That's around when I stopped watching your streams. Is back then. I remember you getting pissed at people making fun of the lean in ban and the frogs. For some reason, you really didn't like the frogs
Oh yeah.
at the time.
And just so you know, after that, basically I adopted all of it. I made a lean in manual ban emote. We had frog emotes. We basically started celebrating the memes rather than being anti-meme. And it worked for a pretty long time, to the fact where now, once you lean into the memes, they kind of lose their power as a negative reinforcement, and then people forget about them. So now, like, no one talks about the frog meme. No one in my chat even really remembers what you're talking about with the frog meme, because it was like, from a past
Yeah, I
time,
mean, they must be really fucking confused on who I am because it's been 100 years. Um, I mean, that's fine. I just think that it's been a consistent problem is just painting too broad a brush with people.
I completely agree with you these days. You're right. I was an asshole back in the day. I thought my shit didn't stink. I thought, hey, I'm the content creator. I'm the big shot streamer. How dare you criticize me and say I'm doing something wrong? And that was the absolute wrong way to take it. And I've learned over the years to mellow out and have a different attitude. And I appreciate now when people call me out for it, because sometimes I don't realize what's going on, and then when people call me out for it, I'm like, oh, you're right. I'm making a mistake. This is stupid. I need to change my attitude. And, for for the most part, people say that I have mellowed out a lot, and that's a good thing, obviously. So, no, go ahead.
I don't know. I just miss the days when you would sing about Sonic and bestiality. I miss the singing feel.
Dude, I would love to play that on the stream. I mean, it's been such a change. Culture in general in the last decade. It's like you can't even have that on YouTube anymore. People will flag your channel for having that video. You know, it's like, what the hell? And it's crazy, you know, how things have changed and the things you said and did 10 years ago. You know, now if you said it, you'd be immediately canceled and everyone just railroads you off the internet.
Maybe. I think people over exaggerate I mean, like, look at you. You've been through a billion controversies and you're still here. So I think people tend to overestimate how effective canceling is.
That is very true. I've been well, people have attempted to cancel me so many times over the years for various different things. I mean, and yeah, to some extent it's worked. Like, for example, you know, the reason I'm not on Twitch right now is because my detractors, I don't know if you know this, Tolo, back in 2021, my detractors made like a mega cut of all the things that I used to say and do in like 2010. All right. So we're talking like 11 years prior, you know, a joke about Nazis that's really bad and I never should have made. And this joke about some woman and then this joke about certain race. Right. And they made this super cut of content that they thought was offensive. And they sent it to Twitch and said, you got this guy in their partner program. Do you really want this kind of person in there? And Twitch removed me from their partner program, citing that I'm using hateful speech. I'm like, the shit that you're talking about happened 11 years ago. Like, how are you going to cancel me now for stuff that I don't do, right? So to some extent, it does hurt me. But for the most part, I've been through the ringer for so long that, you know, people know who I am. They know, they know what to expect. And I don't think that I'm ever going to be canceled. Even if I get thrown off a site, there's a million other places I can go, and my viewers follow me. So I'm not really too concerned about that kind of shit.
Okay. Correct me if I'm misunderstanding this, but wasn't there a ban before that one where you made fun of a guy for having blue hair or something? Like you clicked on his Twitch profile and ridiculed his appearance?
Oh, yeah. There was a few. Twitch is so weird. And I got to give you credit, man, for the fact that you still stream there, because they're so weird with the way that they do business. Like, I remember that was one case where I'm just on my stream and there's a guy who's a troll. He's an outright troll. He's making fun of me. He's insulting me. So I just clap back at him. And I just happened to look at his avatar and he has blue hair. And I'm like, dude, you and your stupid, I probably said, like, you look like a Muppet or something like that, right? You look like a Muppet with your colored hair or whatever. And they actually just said, oh, this is strike one against your channel. How dare you, like, insult someone's physical appearance on your stream? I'm like, how do you even know that's them? It's just an avatar. You know, I don't even know that that's really the person. I'm just making a stupid comment because they insulted me first. But to Twitch, that's like, oh, God, you can't do that. The thing that really got me about Twitch, they don't sometimes would, like say I had done stuff wrong and apparently hit me with, like, a strike, but they didn't tell me. So, like, for example, I remember I was doing a Christmas marathon and I was, like, really drunk, like buzzed, like really buzzed, not drunk, but like I drank a lot. And I was like impersonating a bad streamer. And I accidentally said like the F word or something, right? While I'm buzzed. And immediately I said, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to say that. I was trying to impersonate someone who does the wrong thing, right? So months pass. And then all of a sudden, my channel gets temporarily suspended for like a day. And I contacted my Twitch partner manager at the time. And I said, what happened? Why am I suspended? He goes, oh, well, this is like strike two. I said, strike two for what? Oh, well, back in December, you said this. I said, you didn't even tell me about it. You didn't give me a strike. Like, you didn't even tell me I had a strike. Like, where do I see this shit? And the guy had nothing to say. He's like, oh, well, it doesn't matter if I told you or not. You had it anyway. Like, what?
Well, to be fair, you know that word's verboten on Twitch. Like, you said it. Even if it was a mistake, you did it. You know?
And for me, the whole air of unprofessionalism of Twitch and how it's run, like on YouTube, when I get a strike, I know I got the strike. They email me about it. My channel has a giant pop-up on it that says, this has happened. Now you must, change your behavior. On Twitch, you don't even know what the hell's going on. And all of a sudden, they'll just turn your stream off. Like, what's going on? And then they say, oh, you said a slur during your stream. No, I didn't. Appeal. And then they just turn my stream back on 3 hours later because I never did it. Like, they just made it up. So that's one of the reasons I left. I couldn't take them being so unprofessional. I want a place where if you're going to hold me accountable, fine. I want to know what I'm doing wrong and improve. You got to give me a chance. Like, you got to tell me what's happening, not just take me out of the partner program with no warning, no chance to, like, you know, improve myself or be better. Just spend my channel on a whim. Don't tell me I have strikes against. I was like, enough is it. You know, this is a business for me. This is my living. I got to go somewhere where they're gonna take it more seriously, and that's when I've been at YouTube the last 3.5 years, and I have not had any of those kind of problems streaming over here.
So did you leave or did you get banned?
I left. I was removed from the partner program in 2021. They cited hate speech, and I said, "What hate speech? I want you to tell me." They refused. They said, "We don't have to tell you anything, but in a year you can apply to get your partnership back." And I was like, "What's the point of me reapplying when you won't tell me what I did wrong to begin with? I have no clue what you're even talking about." Come to find out, then I found out, of course, doing research, that it was my detractors who had done this supercut. Again, this was like 2010, 2011 shit that I had said and done. And they sent it to Twitch and campaigned to get me out of the partner program, so they threw me out. I still streamed on Twitch for about a month and a half after having lost my partnership. But I couldn't, basically, I was making a living just on like tips because, you know, I couldn't get bits, I couldn't get subs. And I was trying to get people to just basically tip and still make a living doing it. But where the straw that broke the camel's back was I was streaming Returnal. And during Returnal, you know, that's a very fast-paced game. Like, a million shit on a screen. Like, things are flying at you all over the place. Very tough game. And I got tongue-tied. I was, like, saying something, and I was reading something off the screen, but I was also saying something else, and I combined, like, 2 words together, and it was like a jumble. And my detractors, again, this is not critics of me. This is my actual detractors who wish me harm. False reported me to Twitch saying that I had said the N-word. I was like, what? I never did. You can replay the clip. I definitely didn't say it. It was just me being tongue-tied, like saying 2 words together that ended with, like, you know, grr at the end of it or something like that. And all of a sudden they're like, oh, he said the N-word. And they actually suspended me. They suspended my channel for that. And I was like, what the fuck? So I appealed it, and later that day they removed the suspension. But I was like, there is absolutely no way I'm going to continue to work on this site if they're going to just suspend me on a whim for something I literally didn't do. So that's why I've been gone since then. I actively chose to leave. I could reapply partnership, but I don't want to, man. I don't want to deal with them.
Have a horse in the race. But do you think you would have gotten removed from the partner program if it wasn't for the hair incident and the saying the slur incident? Because I feel like from Twitch's perspective, you got to think, okay, well, he says he changed, but look at these 2 things that happened recently. Like, what, within the last year and a half, 2 years? I don't know the time frame. But
I actually don't remember either. Right.
So, you know, it's you got to accept some culpability for that, right?
Listen, I will openly admit that I'm not a perfect dude, and I said and done things that I shouldn't have done, you know. But again, for me, it's the air of not being professional about it. If they were transparent with me and were like, okay, listen, this happened, you got to strike. This happened, you got to strike. You got to be careful. But they don't do that. They'll just all of a sudden you'll just have your.
You're talking about a company. I don't know if you ever saw this, but it's a company where they had like this Twitch ambassador program where they had like an otherkin who thought, I think she was a deer and would do like deer role play on the stream, or she'd eat grass and say that her haters are grass and she's going to eat them. So, I mean, Twitch is confusing sometimes, but I think that in that case you're mentioning, I think you would have been fine if you didn't do those 2 things. Because, like, yeah, I get being pressed and someone is trolling you and annoying you, but if you're going and insulting their physical appearance, I don't know, man.
I mean, fair enough. Fair enough. You know, if that's your perspective, that's cool. You know, for me, in truth, now that I'm on YouTube, I can't even see people's avatars anymore. I couldn't insult someone if I wanted to, because the avatars on YouTube are tiny and people use like anime shit anyway all the time. So
do you want to insult someone right now?
Sure. Let's see. Blastoise, that avatar's hideous. How dare you?
No, a real insult. Come on. You got better than that. You were the king of hate. Come on.
Anyway, what I'd like to do, I'd like to go back to 2017 when kind of we had our interactions and talk a little bit about how we were going back and forth there. First of all, I want to say this wholeheartedly. I mean this, dude. I'm really sorry that because we had interactions in 2017, anything negative that might have happened to you or your streams or anything like that, because I don't actually know the extent of, what happened with my haters, or if they actually came over and harassed you or harassed your community or kind of like derailed your streams. But I just want you to know I'm really sorry for anything like that happened. And it was obviously never my intention with us either talking or whatever that would happen. I never thought in my wildest dreams that they would come and kind of be like a negative thing for you.
Are you
I
sure
feel really
about
bad
that?
about it.
I mean, you got to know that when you mention people, they're gonna get some blowback for interacting with you. You know that.
Now I do. But here's the change is that back then, I was mostly an isolated content creator. Like I said, in 2017, that's when the adpocalypse happened on YouTube, and I was leaning into now being a live streamer. And when you're a live streamer, now you have a social interaction with your audience, but you're also looking to possibly have interactions with other content creators, streamers, collabs. And basically, that's kind of, you were the first person who we kind of had that because of the auto hosting or whatever. And I didn't at that time. Quite frankly, I had no clue that was going to happen to you. And I when it happened, I felt so bad because I was like, dude, now, and basically what happened was I went into like a turtle shell. Like I basically said, well, I'm not going to do nothing. I'm not going to talk to nobody. I'm not going to collab with anyone. I'm just going to do my own shit because I don't want other people now to get harassed or whatever. And now I know that. Now I will know that. And anyone who's going to do anything with me needs to know that up front too, that I've got these people who are stalking me, and man, they're going to come after you if you have any kind of positive interaction with me. But you were really the first person who got that out of nowhere, and I am sorry because I did not know that would happen to you.
We can talk about that. So one of the things for me is, you remember when we had like a half-hearted idea, oh, we're going to play Monster Hunter or whatever, right?
Sure.
Back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be honest. I've never expected you to commit to that for even a minute. I don't know what I would have done if you showed up and you're like, yeah, let's play Monster Hunter. Cause you never commit to anything like that, ever. You don't interact with other people. So for me, it was just kind of like, okay, well, he's not going to do it. I was really surprised when you even played the demo for that game.
Right.
But the reason why I wanted to stop having any sort of associating with you, a lot of people are under the impression that you have me here to launder your image, to make it seem like
wow.
That's what I was being told last night. And people say what they're going to say, but one thing is, with the Monster Hunter World thing, a lot of the acrimony I was receiving from your side of things is because you were apparently saying Tolomeo doesn't like this game. I'm not playing it because even Tolomeo doesn't think it's good. And so you should have known better than to say stuff like that, because what do you think's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
And granted, to be fair to you, I didn't bring this up when I told you that because I thought you were going to go and say, blame it on the detractors. And then I didn't trust you to keep it on the down low, right? But the reason was because you said that people were coming in saying that you said the reason you were not playing Monster Hunter World was because of me. And I'm like, okay, normally in a normal relationship with another person, that's not the end of the world, but I felt you should have more sense because you know how people are going to react when you say things like that about other people. Does that make sense?
Oh, no, that totally makes sense. That is something that sadly in my past I had a big problem with, is even though like I'm trying to remember, because obviously now it's like 7 years ago, and I'm trying to actually remember from my perspective why I thought that you didn't like Monster Hunter World. I can't remember if I saw you stream it or if you had just said that, but it's like in reality, like you saw, I played the demo, and the reason that I didn't play it is because when I streamed the demo, my viewers hated it. They were like,
that's because you were playing with randoms from your chat, dude. Like they were,
yeah,
like, oh man, oh,
well,
that was
they even knew more than me. Like I didn't know anything about Monster Hunter. I was just trying to learn it on the fly. The only time I had played Monster Hunter before then was like one of the 3DS ones, and it was playing by myself, so I really didn't know what the hell I was doing then either. But you're right. I shouldn't have. I don't distinctly remember how I said it. I remember saying it. Now that you're bringing this up, I totally remember that I'd said that. And more than likely, you're right. It was me kind of justifying not playing the game. and saying, well, not only did you guys not like it in the demo, but also Tolomeo doesn't like it, right?
You were kind
Or
of throwing me under the
Tolomeo.
bus a little
Right.
bit.
And that's my fault. And I apologize for that. I do. I used to do shit like that. That's my fault. You know, misspeaking. I did the same thing. I'll fess up here. I used to do the same thing with my friend John Rambo back in the day, where
It's a very nice cat, by the way. How's he doing?
he's doing good. Jasper Kitty jumping up on the chair here, and at the same time that he's on the screen. Cool.
Yeah, sorry for interrupting. John Rambo, you were talking about that.
Yeah. No, you know, the same thing happened with him where there was a situation with John Rambo where we were doing a project together, and someone had commented on one of my videos and said, you know, John Rambo's the best part of the show. We don't like you. We don't like the other guys who are in it. We only like John Rambo. And I took offense to that. And instead of being like, you know what, who cares? What do? I open my big mouth and I say something dumb. And I say, you know, when you say that, you're insulting everyone involved with the project, because it's not just John Rambo who's on the project. It's me and it's the crew and it's all of this. And of course, what happens is John Rambo's like, dude, why'd you say that? Because now it sounds like you're discrediting me. If someone likes what I'm doing on the show, why are you talking shit and acting? You know what I mean? Like, and I do have a bad habit of bringing that kind of shit up. Like, why am I bringing you up for my reason that I'm not playing Monster Hunter World? Yeah, I'm not playing it because, number one, I don't know how to play it. I played it with, like you said, with people from my moderators and stuff, and no one really liked it. And I should have just left it at that. So I apologize to you that you got any kind of negative clapback at all for the stuff that I said and did. Again, never my intention. I still feel awful about it to this day. You know, you're a really cool guy. Well, for the times that we had those interactions, we were hanging out. It was a blast. I love being on your stream and talking with you when you were playing a game. I liked it when you would come by my stuff from time to time. I honestly liked the prospect of us having interaction. For example, you coached me during my playthrough of Dark Souls 2 Scholar of the First Sin. You actually like helped me with my dual wield build because I didn't understand how the mechanics of how that would work. And I remember you had told me all about it. And then I started doing it and I was like, wow, this is awesome. You know, and then I remember at one point we were talking that maybe we would do a run where I do like a crazy challenge run and I would summon you in and stuff like that. And that stuff, to me, like in 2017, this was like exciting ideas because I had always been an isolated guy, just like you just said. DSP doesn't work with anyone. DSP doesn't do crossover content. He just sits there and does his own shit, right? But I was seriously considering, you know, doing stuff. We had talked about another collab. I'm sure we're going to get to it here. There was going to be a collab we were going to do with other people that fell apart. Thankfully, thank God.
Yeah, yeah. Thankfully,
we'll talk about that in a sec. But
sure.
But you know, there was potential there. I saw the potential for a crossover. I did. I was seriously considering it, and then basically, you know, I got a little flaky about it, you know, because I didn't know if it was going to work or not. And then basically all the shit happened with you know, haters going over, and you know, I guess it was based off of what you're saying, that I had said that you didn't like Monster Hunter World, and they of course tried to spin that into a big negative for you, and you ended up taking a lot of shit for it. Again, same thing with John Rambo.
Okay. I mean, what do you think people are going to say when you say this person is the reason I'm not playing this game you want to see? They didn't have to spin it. That what you said was enough, right?
Yeah, and that's because I'm dumb. That's because I'm really dumb. You know, I'm trying to get better. You know, now we're 7 years later, and I really feel like I have gotten a lot better at that kind of shit. I'm careful about what I say and do, or I try to be careful, but I'm certainly not perfect, and I still make mistakes, but that's on me. And I'm really sorry for that. I really am, man.
Alrighty, well, I appreciate it. I just want to touch on something you said, though.
Go ahead.
With Dark Souls 2, this is the first time we've spoken, right? Like in any sort of voice capacity, yeah?
Yeah, I think so. I think we chatted in each other's chats and stuff back and forth.
I don't want it to, because I know like one of the things about the Souls runs is people want to see you fail, straight up. It's funny. So you would come into my stream and ask me like what build, and I'd be saying I'll just use dual wield with these rings or whatever. So I think calling it coaching is a little bit more than it was. I would have, like, if you said, Tolomeo, I want to do a Bloodborne level 4 run, I think that would have been content. I think what you want to know what my favorite video of yours is?
Dude, what's that?
Can you guess?
Well, if we're talking about me being a complete buffoon in like Souls games, the biggest clip of that was the one where I was on the cliff and I said, "Oh, I'm finally starting to get the hang of this. I'm liking this," and I walked right off the cliff and died immediately.
For me, It was your Lightning Returns unboxing video. The one with
Oh,
the
everyone
was it
says
the
that.
the
Everyone says
fire
that.
alarm in the background for 13 minutes? You know why it was going off? Because that video was fire. You need to make more shit like that. You need. I want bacon grease in the toilet, Phil. That's what the people want.
Oh man,
That's what the people want.
I know. That was back in the day. It was like anything goes, right? Like you could film a turd and people would like it. It was like, and that's what it was. It was like train wreck shit.
Fun fact, real quick.
Mhm.
I know I'm interrupting a lot, but
No,
this is
go ahead.
relevant.
Go ahead.
One of the people that came to my Discord from yours was a guy who posted himself, like, he would shit in the toilet and post it in my Discord. Like, look what I did today.
Oh,
So, are you familiar with someone who goes by the name Mausolus10?
no.
That's
Oh.
another person who arrived at my stream because of our past interaction, where he believed that he could utilize the psychic plane to invade anyone's dreams because he was a product of MK Ultra. And the only thing that protected me from his dream assaults was my dog protected me in the dreamscape. And he would threaten random viewers with stay out of the grass for the next 3 weeks. He would call black people red guards from Skyrim.
What?
And I'm like, yeah, this is the DSP everyman. This is their guy. So
Oh
I just
my
wanted.
God.
I ended up banning him because he'd say like the fucked up shit about red guards. But I'm just curious if you were familiar with that name.
No, I mean, can you understand why I've been in the game for 16 years and I've never had like a public Discord or anything? Like, do you see why I don't want to deal with this shit? It's like, oh my God.
Some of it's funny though. If you lean into it, it's funny. You just
Wow.
you just gotta stop being so serious, you know?
No, and listen, and you don't know this. I definitely have. Like in these last couple of months, I've actually done collabs. I've been on different shows. I did a public interview yesterday for Cultaholic Wrestling. I've been on this Kino Casino show over on Kick where they do basically drama videos and shit. And they used to make fun of me, and then I was on and they liked me, and they're like, "Oh, this is cool." How we did a co-op react to a documentary about another YouTuber. We even did gameplay. We actually did co-op gameplay, and that game Chained Together. And I'm looking to branch out and do different shit now. I'm older now. I'm 42 years old. I've mellowed out. I don't care about people talking shit about me. I don't care about this insignificant shit. I just want to have fun with an audience. I just want to make fun content for people. I don't care about this nonsense anymore. The things that I'm concerned about are the real detractors. The ones that are really out there, crazy obsessed, want to hurt me and my family. But outside of that, dude, I've mellowed out a lot. I'm not Mr. Serious, fucking stick up my butt anymore. I'm tired of being like that, quite frankly. You get to a point, it's like, dude, what's the point with this shit, right? So, yeah, that's true. Sarah in the chat just said, I had a fan for years who he's the nicest guy in the chat, but now I found out that the guy's basically like a pedophile. Like he's got all this shit on his YouTube channel and stuff. It's disgusting. And I tried to be nice to the guy for the longest time because he would never break the rules. He would never do anything wrong in my chat. But then everyone kind of campaigned to get him banned. And then finally I got convinced by these people I was doing a collab with to get rid of him. And I was like, I guess, this is the kind of people that get involved in these communities. Like, dude, it's weird. The internet's a weird
How do you have to be
place.
Convinced? What do you mean? Can you elaborate on that
Sure.
a little more for me?
Listen, it's not like I have any problem kicking a pedophile out of my community. The problem is this is someone who has absolutely never shown that in any of my streams or content. Like, I wouldn't even know about this if my detractors hadn't stalked this guy. Like, apparently they went to his social media, they went to his YouTube channel, they went to private playlists. I don't know, because I literally have never seen it. I don't want to see it, right? I don't want to be involved with that shit. But, I start hearing from detractors, oh, this guy is this guy is that. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to pay attention to it. I'm not a guy who's going to micromanage and stalk every one of my fans because someone says something negative about them, right? So it was like my philosophy, listen, I'm not your dad. I'm not your fucking parent. I'm not the cops. I shouldn't be, going to everyone's social media to see what you're into in your private life and shit. I really don't care. Just don't bring it to my content. I want to know nothing about it. But
okay. So I have a few problems with that.
All right, fine.
The thing
Go ahead.
about that is like, yeah, you shouldn't be stalking people, but in this instance, it sounded like they were doing you a favor. They're saying there's someone who's into like little kids. Like that's giving you like that's not stalking someone and being unreasonable. If someone says like this person has pedophilic tendencies, you should probably ban them from your chat. You got to think of like, what if they're DMing other people in your chat? What if they're doing shit behind the scenes? I think you as a content creator, a streamer, however you want to style yourself, has a responsibility to the people who pay your bills to protect them from people like that. I think that if it took you a long time from when they first told you to you banning them, that's a pretty big moral failing, in my opinion.
Well, the way I see it, and listen, I'm not going to disagree with you. Okay, I'm not. The way I see it is, this is a guy who, I would argue, is probably about a year and a half, 2 years. Was in chat and never caused a problem, and I didn't know any of this shit. And then all of a sudden, where do you hear it from? Am I hearing it from trusted people? No, I'm hearing it from like my detractors are coming in and trolling the guy. And by the way, this is not the only guy. They do this with a lot of my viewers. This just happened to be like a bad offender. Like, they'll make fun of my viewers for dumb shit too. This is
Okay,
a
but
really
this is
bad
pedophilia.
situation.
This is
Exactly.
different. You could take 5 minutes to check the validity of this, right?
Well, again, that's a big step. For me, that's a big step because you're saying now that any time that one of my detractors comes in and says, hey, just so you know, this person is doing something bad, now I'm supposed to just believe them and go check on every single person. Because what happens is when you give these people an inch, they take a mile. So the first time it happens and I entertain it and I take the step, now it's going to happen to the next person and the next, and they're never going to give up. They're just going to do it literally to every person. And eventually it's going to be bullshit. It's going to be, this isn't serious. They're just doing it now to get attention because they realized they got me to react the first time. But I
Okay,
agree with you
but
now.
the first time was a legitimate thing, though, right?
But now I know it was. I didn't know it was at first. It took a lot of convincing from a lot of different people. And in fact, I had to personally, behind the scenes, apologize to a couple of people who were not detractors, who did recently tell me about this guy. And I was like, I don't know. I don't want to give those haters that satisfaction that they think that I'm just going to take action because they say something about it.
But that literally doesn't make any sense to me. Like, the alternative is what? He's a pedophile and you don't ban him, and that you're sticking it to the detractors that way. They would probably be like, okay, well, we don't like Phil. We don't like that he asked for so much money. But when it comes to serious issues like this, he's, because you got to stop thinking about these hypotheticals. Ultimately, you said previously, should I check every time one person says something about my viewers? But before you said that, you told me just now that a lot of people were telling you about Derek, right?
At one point, yes, very recently. And that's actually when I got rid of him.
Okay. So I don't know. I just think if you're going to have the audacity to go in and like, let's face it, like streaming's pretty cushy in a lot of ways. If you're asking people for money, you should do right by them. And I think that doing right by them means not allowing actual child predators to just freely roam the chat, right?
For the record, I don't even know if it's like fully true. I just know people have told me. I didn't go deep into looking into this guy's stuff. And for the record, because I know you probably don't know this, there's no DMs on YouTube. There's no way this guy could have like reached out and tried to stalk or harass people through my channel. Unlike Twitch, where definitely that can happen, and there's evidence it happens all the time. On YouTube, it's just, it's like a comment system. So this guy, to my knowledge, was not ever taking anything that he did in his private life and putting it onto my viewers or other people in the community. In fact, again, the only reason I knew about this is because supposedly my detractors went deep into his shit to find it. And then when they found it, they threw it in my face like it's my fault, right? Oh, you have a follower who's a fucking pedophile. How dare you not take action? I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, why are you bothering me with this shit, But then after a while, you hear more and more people talk about it. And that's why, yes, finally when you have enough people, like, they're all confirming it. All right, now I got to take action because it's true. But my issue with it, now I understand. But my issue with it was I was afraid that if you give these people an inch, they will keep taking the mile and keep pushing the envelope with every person in chat, with every person who ever supported me. And then, by the way, for the record, this guy didn't even support me. He never even gave $1. He never became a paid member, nothing. He was just the chatter, like a casual guy there. But fair enough. I've certainly heard this from so many people. You're just the next person to correct me on this issue. And you know, from now on, when I hear of serious shit like this going on, I absolutely will look into it and address it, because I agree with you. The safety of the community is more important than, you know, oh, the detractor's got a one up on me.
Yeah, because like you said, that one of the things you said in our DMs is you feel like you're on a redemption arc, right? Like you're trying to go on a redemption arc and prove that people were wrong about you. Yeah.
I'm not that I'm trying to prove people are wrong. I'm trying to improve. Like, I know that
Okay.
I've had problems. I've had bad behavior. I'm trying to be better now. And I want people to know that. I want people to know that this is not the old Phil who's just going to sit here isolated, not talk to anyone, be a fucking, you know, stupid, big-headed idiot, not take criticism, not improve for the better. I want to be the better person. That's one of the reasons why I have you on today. I wanted the kind of conversation we're having right now to happen. This is exactly the reason why I wanted you on, because I need to have honest conversations with people to improve and move forward in my life.
Okay, well, I appreciate that, but having a conversation and following through on it, two different things, right? Because I will say to you, like,
Mm-hmm.
you've never done anything to me personally aside from the Monster Hunter thing. Like, you've been polite and respectful in basically all of our interactions. So I'm sorry if this comes off as, you know, I'm not trying to be aggressive towards you, but I think if you're going
No.
to talk about wanting to be better, then you need to like accept that you really fucked up on a lot of places,
Yeah.
because that's a
Mm-hmm.
huge fucking, that's a bad mistake. Letting it, like, if one person is just consistently saying like everyone in the chat's a pedophile, whatever. But if you have multiple people, you like within the next few hours, you should see that. Because what if, you know, what if you're wrong? What if your assumptions about like not being able to get into contact with people, what if they were on like, I don't know if you still have the King of Hate forum. What if they were in a Discord or something? And people like that they're a cancer. You need to get rid of them immediately, even if they're not bringing it in to your stream, because it's not about, I mean, like the way you say it, it's like if they're part of your stream and they're not bringing it in, it just sounds like you're saying it's okay for people to be that way. And I don't think that's right.
No, of course that's not what I'm saying.
I know, but that's the way you're describing it comes off that way a little bit.
I guess the here's the question I think every content creator has to face is, to what extent is your responsibility as a creator to vet or control your audience? Do you even do that? Or do you only do it when something comes to your attention? You know what I mean? Like, this is something new for me. This was the first case, honestly, where, you know, people stepped up and said something about someone in my audience, and it was like something really serious. It's not someone, you know, they're making fun of someone for something stupid. This was something serious, and, you know, I just didn't know how to handle it, quite frankly.
Okay,
I
so
didn't know.
I have something uncomfortable to ask you then.
Okay.
Um, so you've been apologizing, but I think this is
Hmm.
going to sound weird, but I think if someone does the legwork to find out you have an actual predator in your chat and alerts you of that fact, you should thank them for doing that for you, because they're, even if it's not necessarily their stated intended goal from the beginning of it, they're doing you a favor. And you should be grateful that even if it didn't start with the best of intentions, you should be a big enough man to say, you know what? I don't like you fuckers, but this time you did me a service, you did people in the chat a service, and I think that you deserve commendation for that, basically. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. And to some extent, this has happened over the years as well with other things. For example, there was this time, actually, it was actually around the same time that we were having our interactions, now that I'm thinking about it, where there was this couple. Listen to this story. I don't know if you've heard this story before.
I know this one. They mentioned
Oh,
me during this
oh, did
and
they?
on Kiwi Farms. Yeah.
So, yeah, there was this couple who were, I guess they were like in Europe or something,
Mm-hmm.
and they were catfishers, and they would
Yep.
impersonate women on the internet and pretend to be escorts, and they would create these giant overblown stories and harass people with these stories in an attempt to extort them and try to get like money out of them and shit. And they had tried to do this to me apparently, but it didn't work on me because I was already so hated on the internet and shit. I didn't care about my reputation or whatever. I just told everyone, listen, it's bullshit, right? I'm telling you it's bullshit. I don't have to tell you nothing else because it's all made up. It's all fantasy. And that's how I handled it. And no one really cared in my community, but it was my stalkerish style detractors who looked into the situation and found out who these people were and posted it up all over Kiwi Farms and exposed them. And, so out of, all these times that these people do these things, right? There are some times, absolutely, that good things come out of it. That was definitely one case. The Derek thing is definitely one case. But again, like, that's 2 drops in a bucket of, shit that they do. That it's like 2 positives out of 5 zillion negatives. And it's hard for me to really give credit with the other awful things they've said, they've done, they've heard, again, the extent of it is so ridiculous. I don't even want to talk about it, because when you talk about it, you're giving them attention. That's what they want, right?
Sure.
But I hear what you're saying. Yes, in this case, these are situations where even though the intention was negative, something positive came out of it. And I think they should know that they should be credited with those times. But overall, does it justify their overall years of complete harassment and stalkerish behavior just because twice they got something that was like a positive out of it? I don't know. Like, I am thankful for the fact that they have exposed these things.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. I'm going to interrupt you really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I've heard the opposite part of this too, where when you do something good and people are like, oh man, Phil actually knocked it out of the park, you feel like they only focus on the negatives, right? Like they won't acknowledge when you do a good thing. So I feel like they would say the exact same thing about you. That you just, it's just like listening to the other side of the fucking argument right now for me.
Mm-hmm.
And
Fair enough.
you would say that, they would say that maybe Phil did good this time, that time, whatever, but does it justify like the WWE champions or whatever the fuck else they're mad about with you, excuse me. So I don't know, man. I don't know. You just got to give credit when credit's due, because you kind of expect to be commended when you do something good, right? Like you say, I'm sorry for this, I'm sorry for that, I made this mistake, that mistake, and I've gotten better. And if you can't have it just be a one-way thing, right? You
I
can't
think you're
expect
right.
people to just ignore all of your fuck ups and only focus on commending you for the positives and not give the other side the same courtesy. Yeah.
Yeah, I think. All right, how about this? Because I think someone in the chat just said it in a good way. Expecting Phil to worship people who hate him is unreasonable. I agree with that statement, but that's not what Tolo is saying. He's not
Yeah,
saying
that's
worship
ridiculous.
the people. He's saying give credit where credit is due, right? And in this case, in those particular situations, yes, I think credit is due. But I also, the reason that I don't give credit is because I have all the other shit going on at the same time. That's why. It would be one thing if I hadn't had years of systematic harassment, my family members, my business, all stalked, all being hurt constantly behind the scenes. Then I probably would be more open, right? And that's what it is like now I've been on the defensive for so goddamn long. But that's why, Tolo, I really appreciate you being honest in our interview today. Because
Okay.
this is the kind of shit I need to hear. This is the shit I don't hear and I need to hear. Because I can't. Go ahead.
Let's see. Let's do this then. Are you willing to thank people for taking care of the Derek situation and taking care of the catfishing situation? You're not busy now. We're having this conversation. So are you comfortable saying that? I'm not asking you to worship people. You don't have to like them.
Right.
But if you want people to look past their misgivings with you, you have to do the same. And you have to acknowledge when people actually do something that's positive, because it could have gone a whole nother way. Like if they really wanted to ruin your life to the extent that you think, they may have tried to embolden someone like Derek and enable him and get him in a position where he'd be able to cause real harm to your community. But they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense, right?
It makes sense, but you're coming at it from an angle, and I get it, because that's the perspective you're seeing. My perspective is the reason that they didn't is because they wanted to pin it on me. Like they wanted to say, you see, Phil has this guy in his community, and that's on him. You know what I mean? And so, but you know what? You're right. I will publicly right now say to anyone out there, because I actually don't know the people who were involved doing it. I don't go on Kiwi Farms and study accounts and shit. I don't have any interaction with these. To those of you out there who even if you don't like me, to those of you who have done me a solid, who have done these kind of things, exposing that ridiculous catfish, right? taking care, well, not taking care, but exposing the truth about the Derek situation. Thank you for that, because those are things that help the community, that help me. And I do appreciate that because, you know, for me, I'm just a dude sitting here streaming all day. I don't really go outside of like Tolo has even said here. It's rare when I would go outside of my comfort zone to explore into these regions, these realms of this shit going down. So I don't even know what to believe half the time, right? You know, I hear that, I've heard that about Derek for about a year. I heard that about Derek, and I was like, I don't know what to believe, because I always hear it from detractors. And it wasn't until I started getting corroboration from other people who were saying, well, we looked into it and we seen it too. Oh shit. So now I made a big mistake, because I just immediately dismissed what the detractors were saying rather than giving it any kind of merit, because it was from the detractors. When I started hearing it from other people, then I start to believe it. Next thing you know, oh, it's actually true. Shit. I should have taken action sooner. That's on me. I apologize for my lack of action faster, and I apologize for not giving credit where credit is due. Thank you to those who have actually done that the solid, rather than, like Tolo suggested, tried to make it worse. Thing is, that's not everyone, but for those of you who were involved with that shit, I do appreciate that.
All right. I think in the future, though, you should not qualify it at the end like that. You should just maybe a couple people, or you're thinking a couple people unjustly. Who gives a shit, right? Like it doesn't matter. It just makes it seem like a little more forced when you add the little bit at the end there. But we don't have to keep talking about this.
Dude, the conversation could go any way you want. I just wanted to have you on to shoot the shit. Like I said, this is a situation where it's a conversation that could go in a lot of different directions, and it's fine as long as people are enjoying it or we're getting something out of it. I'm totally cool with you being honest about this stuff. I am, because like you said, you're an outsider. It's good to get an outsider's perspective, right?
I mean, kind of. I've watched some of the earlier "This Is How You Don't Play" stuff. I've watched a good bit of it, but I don't know if I'd say I'm entirely an outsider, because I've had dealings with you before. But I get what you're saying. Yeah, I guess another thing I was curious about is people were in my chat last night said that you said that I was the one who wanted to be on the podcast rather than you inviting me.
No, that's not true at all. Never said that
Okay.
once.
Okay.
Absolutely not. Again, with every time that these people say something that's true, there's also a big massive bullshit that comes with it. And so you got to kind of like pick through the shit to get to the nugget with these people. I'm sure they said 5 million things in your chat last night that were complete bullshit. But no, absolutely not. I wanted to have you on. I wanted to talk about our you know, that interactions that we had in 2017, clear the air about what had happened there. To be fair, I had completely forgotten about the comments that I had made about you in Monster Hunter World. So I'm glad that that's been cleared up now, because now I remember, right? And this is not me trying to get you on here to make my image look better. I could give two shits about that. It's just having a real conversation with someone about this kind of stuff. I feel like I didn't know it was going to go this way, what we were going to talk about today, but I'm totally cool with anything. I'm so open to doing any kind of conversation these days. I mean, as you can see, it's a little different than the old Phil, don't you think? Where I probably would have got pissed at you and started fucking going crazy.
I was half expecting it, because you hung up on that other guy, the guy before me. I watched that, Craig. You
but that's
fucking hung up on him, so I
dude,
wasn't sure how.
That's a completely different situation.
I know,
Craig,
but I
that
just
guy
got
was
never
using me 100%. He was using me for his own personal benefit. What are you getting out of this right now? Nothing, right? You're to talk about this. You're not getting any. You're not trying to use me for a boost or anything. I would never hang up. You're being respectful. You didn't snake me like this guy did. You're being truthful, honest. You're being upfront. I appreciate honesty. That is the most powerful thing in life, is to be like honest with someone. The worst thing is passive aggression. When you have an issue with someone, but you fucking don't say anything, that drives me nuts, because I've been through that with my friends. I've been through that with relationships. It's like, just fucking say something if you have an issue with someone, so it can be fleshed out, put out in the open, and addressed. Don't fucking hide shit inside. That drives me nuts. So I actually appreciate the fact, if you have these issues with me, that we're talking about them today live. This is a great way to do it. Thank you for that.
Sure. Of course. Yeah, I had no idea what this was going to be like either, because like I said, I've never talked to you like this. You've been in my chat, I've responded to your messages in chat, but I don't know if I'm gonna bring something up that's verboten and you're gonna lean in, manual ban me from the podcast, right?
You're
So
not gonna, dude. Again, this is what happens. People like build it up, like my okay. I don't know if I should say my detractors, but my trolls, I guess, is a better word for it. The detractors are like the worst, but the trolls will always go and say Phil's gonna do this, Phil's gonna do that, Phil's gonna do that. Phil's never gonna do any of the shit they say. That's the straw man that they've created around me. The argument of who I am. You know, it's not who I am. That's what they want to portray me as. Because if I am that villain, now they have content. Now they can put out videos about it. Now they can do all this shit. Like, they're going to spin this interview. Phil gets beat up by Tolo for an hour, and Phil takes it like a bitch. That's what that they're going to say. That's their video for tomorrow or for this afternoon, you know? It's so stupid. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? No, it's two guys who are just talking, hashing it out. I'm appreciative of what you're saying, but that's how they'll spin it. That's exactly how they are, you know?
I mean, that's just content. That's how it goes, right? Like, I think as long as they're not trying to do anything that invades your personal life, I think that they should be able to make and spin their little videos. It's funny sometimes, right?
I
Like
appreciate the humor of it, but where it gets dangerous, okay, is when some of these people are saying shit. Like, for example, this just happened a couple weeks ago, okay? I was on my podcast talking about, you know, like a CEO of a company laying off a bunch of employees. And I'm like, that shouldn't happen. What should happen is the CEO is the one who screwed up. He should be fired and he should be thrown out of the building, and they should take a box of all his belongings and like shoot it into the street. Like comedically, like a cartoon or something, or like a 1980s movie, someone getting fired, right? One of my detractors actually makes a video. Phil said that the CEO should be shot in the middle of the street. He's inciting violence. Right? It's like, what? What are you talking about? That never happened. Now, the funny thing is you laugh at it, but then you realize there's people who are going to believe that. And they're going to think that I'm inciting violence. And this guy actually had a call to action in the description of his video to try to get people to flag my fucking video and get my channel taken down for it, even though I never did it. And that's where it goes to the extreme, the harmful level, right? When you actually take a funny meme or whatever and you push it to the level where you're actually trying to hurt someone in their business, I can't stand for that shit. You know,
Sure.
That's when I got to call it out.
Sure. But it's like I said earlier, though, like I think if you got more comfortable with laughing at yourself earlier on, I don't think it would have, maybe it would. I don't know. It's a hypothetical. But I don't know, man. Just you need to roll with the jokes more. I think the idea of you shooting a CEO in the middle of the street's pretty funny. Maybe you don't, but
No. Dude, again, I'm getting older. I can't have anyone thinking that I'm gonna be beating people up and threatening people.
Who
I'm
gives
so
a
past that
shit?
shit.
Like, come on.
No,
Like,
dude, you say that. You say that. But you understand that like these people actually try to get me into trouble. Like they'll get my channel suspended, saying that I did something I didn't do. And then if it gets suspended, I can't make money. And now I can't support my family. You know, I'm married.
No, I understand that part. I'm just saying, like, your initial thing is like you don't want people thinking that way about you. I don't think people should flag you or whatever unless it's deserved. Like, I think the instances we spoke about earlier, where you said a slur and like bullied someone based on appearance, I feel like that's distinctly your fault. It. I mean, it maybe you could say it was an overreaction, but anyone on Twitch who would say that word, even referentially, pretty good chance of being banned for a certain period of time, suspended. I don't know, man. I just think, I don't know. You just need to learn to laugh about yourself a little more. Like there was a time where if I brought up the Final Fantasy video, you would not be smiling. You would not be smiling at all, right?
Dude, you're right. And like I said, I have fessed up. I've changed a lot over the years. I don't care about that shit. I watch it myself. I laugh at it myself. You know, it's stupid. My stupid old. I'm better than you. How dare you criticize me? Big ego, right? Giant ego that I had back then in my earlier days as a YouTuber, and to some extent, I would say upwards until around that time, around 2017, when I became a live streamer and I started having these interactions with my audience and having conversations. Instead of me talking to the wall or to the camera, I'm talking to real people now, right? And now I get feedback, I get criticism, and people, now wait a minute, okay, I need to roll with this shit. I do. I need to be more open to this stuff or whatever. I agree with you there, but the slippery slope there is then just being okay with everything, and then people will just literally say and do anything to get a rise, and next thing you know, everyone on the internet thinks you're a piece of shit for things you literally didn't do. And that's the extent that it's gone to for me. And that's the perspective that I'm coming from, is trying to recover. Now I'm trying to do better. I'm trying to make amends for the things I've done wrong in the past. I'm trying to be a better person. But then to them, it's like, well, it's never good enough. Move the goalpost further. Move the goalpost further, because we need the content. There was someone just a few weeks ago. They actually revealed, stupidly, I don't know why they did this. This is really dumb. They opened up their YouTube revenue. It's a detractor of mine. They revealed that on a slow month, they make $5,000 a month on hateful videos on me. In a good month, they probably make like upwards of $8,000 a month. And it's like, so you have incentive to keep making me the villain. Like, even if I were to improve and I were to laugh at all the jokes about me and all the memes, and I were to do all this shit to improve, you wouldn't care, because you have incentive to still make me the bad person because you make money on it. And that's really what's happened, is there's people who have completely monetized this on YouTube, and I can't, it's like a vicious cycle now. Like, it doesn't matter how much I try to improve, I'm never going to be good enough for those people. So those kind of people, I have to call out. I have to be like, listen, I get the joke, but at the same time, you can't just say this fucked up stuff about me constantly. You're hurting my business. You're trying to get me shut down on YouTube. That's at least my perspective from that situation. But I agree with you. I'm doing my best to be better. And like you said, I don't care about those videos anymore. The Final Fantasy video, this is how you don't play. I've watched them back and laughed my ass off at myself because of the way I used to be. And, like you said, that was the golden days of content, right? The dumb, poorly cooking with the king and shit, and me acting like a moron.
So, do you have any aspirations to have any more people on this stream? Because I have a recommendation for the next collab.
Yeah, dude, I am looking for a lot of different stuff. I'm looking to branch out and do all kinds of stuff. Well, who's your recommendation?
Do you know who King Cobra JFS is?
I have actually, the reason I know of him is because I have a Clips React show, and people have submitted clips of him to the show, and I've watched them, and I've seen his snail sandwiches and shit that he does. Yeah.
Can you fucking imagine a duo cooking stream with him? That would be the best shit ever. You could
Oh
imagine how much grease is going to go in that toilet.
Oh. Oh my Lord. Oh man. I'm actually looking, I've been in talks with Wings of Redemption. I've been in talks with Boogie. I've been in talks with a few different people about possibly having appearances on here. I'm working on stuff, but I don't have anything confirmed yet.
Boogie, come on, man. What the fuck?
No, dude, I know. Here's the thing, like, I'm not involved with this shit. Like, everyone else has done it, right? Everyone else has done a video on this guy and talked about this shit going on. It's just so, like, this shit is just so fucking outside of the sphere of the shit that I care about, right? But I mean, obviously, the guy's fucking heinous. He lied to me about it, too. Like, we had DMs at the time. Like, when he had first said he had cancer, I actually had DM'd him on Twitter, and I was like, dude, I wish you the best. So sorry to hear this. And he lied to me about it, too. He was literally did the rounds, lied to everyone about it. Acted like it was real. So.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think it'd be pretty funny if you boxed Boogie. I think that's what the people want.
Oh, boxing is so stupid.
Boxing come on, dude.
There's no... Listen, stuff on the internet is stuff on the internet. When you're crossing over to the dumbass realm of this fucking loud call boxing and shit, that is so dumb. That's like the lowest common denominator of shit. And quite frankly, he's not going to take it. Someone like him never takes it seriously. He didn't. The first fight with Wings, he didn't take seriously. It's just dumb. I'm not out to fight people. I'm out. As I've been saying, I'm out to build bridges now. All the fucked up stuff I've done, I want to make up for that. I want to improve. I understand the appeal of seeing this boxing shit, but I want to mellow out when I get older. I don't want to be the guy who's a fucking, wants to beat up and shit and making threats,
I mean, in this instance, it would be agreed upon, but yeah, I guess so. I mean, Boogie he doesn't care about anything. He just likes his name being mentioned, so it wouldn't matter one way or another with him. There'd be no real catharsis. But yeah,
I think the Wings of Redemption interview would be great, because this is a guy who a lot of people have compared us over the years. We're both gaming content creators. We've never really spoken together. We never actually. Now that I think about it, we've literally, just like with me and you right now, I've never spoken to the man, not once. It's always been like maybe a DM here or clapping back on a stream here. And just to have that conversation and see where it goes, I think would be fascinating. So
Yeah, aren't you both big into the Souls games?
I don't know what he's into. I don't, like I said, I really don't follow a lot of other content creators, so I quite frankly don't know what he's into. Everyone always says that I should 1v1 him on Bog in Call of Duty because that's the meme of the big money match or big hype thing that he did ages ago and he lost live on stream and then he rage quit the stream or whatever.
Yeah.
And people, it's hilarious. People have actually said that watching his gameplay versus mine, they think I'm better than him at Call of Duty. I don't think it's a meme. I think people believe it too. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe it would be fun to do a Call of Duty match. I don't know. That's something to talk about with him.
Bridges, bro. Now you're saying you could beat this motherfucker in a one-on-one?
Of course I could. He sucks. No, I'm just.
You should do a co-op Souls run with him, though. I think that would be funny as fuck.
Yeah. What is the viability of doing a co-op run in like a FromSoft game? Because the summoning mechanic isn't all the time, right?
I mean, for Elden Ring, I believe there's a mod that lets you do seamless co-op and just play through the entire thing, but it can be a pain in the ass for some of the other ones.
Yeah. I would love to do something like that with someone, anyone. That would be cool because I've gotten way heavier into the Souls games now. I play them every time they come out. I'm playing any FromSoft stuff. I've gotten so much better. It's hilarious now because people used to like to watch me play them because I sucked so bad, but now I don't really suck that bad anymore. So now people are like, "Oh, it's not fun to watch you to play it anymore." I'm like, "So what do you want me to do? Purposely suck in order to make the playthrough better?" I don't know what to do. With this last one, the Shadow of the Erd Tree, I legit like beat the whole thing. I kept changing my build through the whole thing to make it more challenging, and I still really didn't have much difficulty except for the last guy. Radon, of course, was ridiculous, but
yeah, everyone was mad about that one. It was pretty funny. I liked it. I think I was in the minority though.
Yeah, he was tough, but you know what? I like bosses that are tough but fair. And in that case, that's a boss that's just like fucking really tough, but I felt like it was a fair fight. Once you learned everything, you were down to kick his ass. There's some other fights that are just broken shit, and those are the ones I don't like. Gimmick fights and stupid shit. But that was a fair but tough fight, and I beat it legit. I didn't cheese him with some kind of a broken build or whatever. And people were like, "Oh, so this isn't fun anymore." I'm like, well, that's what happens.
You don't have. You should just stop worrying about whether someone thinks you cheesed it or not. Because Elden Ring, my first Elden Ring playthrough and my only playthrough of the main game I did on stream, I never leveled up. I just went through level 1 and beat all bosses level 1. Took for fucking ever. But it's like you're using square off. You cheated. You're cheesing the game, and it's like, dude, maybe I am. But the point is, like, who gives a fuck? You're never going to be able to actually please people who are that way.
You're right.
So you just got to play the way you want to play.
I very much know that from experience now, because, at first that's what it was. Oh, you suck, get better. So you get better. Oh, well, now you're not, this isn't entertaining anymore. So you wanted me to suck? Like, I don't get it. And then you do the build. Oh, that build's cheap.
I think it's funnier when someone's bad at those games, personally.
Sure, absolutely. I agree with you. And but then they asked me to play them all. So then I'm eventually, of course, I'm going to get better at them, right? And what are you going to do? And then use a build. Oh, well, that build's cheap. Okay, I'm going to purposely change my build now because you said that's cheap. Oh, well, this build is cheap too. It's like, fuck off. At this point, it's like, I'm just going to play the game and, you're never going to be happy. The goalposts will never stop being moved. So.
Sure. I mean, that's not a you thing, though. That's just how people who watch Soul streams are in a broad sense. So I wouldn't be too burnt up about that. It doesn't matter who you are. They'll get mad at you for playing the way they're not, or a way they're not playing.
Sure. So I had a great time with you. We're getting to the end of our time. I told you it would be about 90 minutes, and I don't want to keep you too long.
Sure.
Is there anything particularly you'd like to talk about here at the end? Or what I'd like to do is, obviously, I want people to know about you and what kind of content you make over on Twitch. You want to talk about that at all?
Nah, not really. I don't think there's a lot of overlap in our audiences. I play dumb shit. I find like the worst indie games ever. Some of them are good, but
that's fun though. I've never had the ability to do that because I wasn't a PC gamer until a month and a half ago. Now I have a gaming PC and I can play all this silly shit, and it's fun to be able to like dabble in random stuff. I like that.
No, you don't understand. I'm talking like dog shit. I'm talking My Little Pony horror games, like on itch.io. I'm talking about fucking Dora the Explorer horror, like the worst shit you've ever seen. And then every once in a while, there's something really good. Like, you know what game would be awesome for you to play?
What's that?
You should play Fear and Hunger. That would be. Mwah. You should look that up.
Yeah, someone mentioned that game to me. It sounds familiar. Is it a horror themed game?
Yes, and I know you're a sucker for those old turn-based RPGs. It is a turn-based RPG. I think you would get a kick out of it.
Huh. I'll have to look into it, especially with October coming up. And I always do like a Halloween marathon. Maybe I could play it during then and give it a shot and see what it is. Cool.
I think that would be very entertaining. But you should try to look up as little about the game as possible.
Okay, don't spoil myself. Got it.
Yeah.
So, okay, let me ask you this. With the kind of gamer that you are and the fact that you play so many random games, do you have like any games coming out in the next few months? Like this is the biggest gaming season of the year, right? Like all these fucking giant games are coming out. Are you actually even interested in any of the new games coming out in the next few months? Or are you just like so into the like indies formula that's just your thing?
No, don't give a shit. I don't know. Most of the time when I play games now, it's just on stream. I haven't played a lot on my own time, and my audience likes a particular type of thing. Like they would not be happy with me if I started playing, let's say, Call of Duty. They'd be like, "God
Right.
damn it! Like, why the fuck are you playing this shit, you idiot?" So it always has to be some new weird thing I find. But
That's
yeah.
the cool thing though about your channel is that that's a niche, dude. That's a good niche to be in. While
Oh,
everyone else
don't
is
please don't
always
use that fucking word. My fucking stream
oh
paid for a
no.
cameo of Boogie saying like, "Tolomeo, find your niche," and they did it for my
Oh,
birthday. And you want to know the most fucked up thing too? Me and Boogie have the same birthday. You know how
oh
that makes me
no.
fucking feel? And there's another streamer who shares our birthday, and his name's Arcadum. And he did the worst thing you can do on Twitch. He actually had everyone abandon him because he tried to like sexually assault VTubers in real life, like giving them like a back
Oh.
massage. And so nobody good was born on that day.
Oh
Like, this
no.
is,
Dude, you gotta own the day then. You gotta be like, nah, it's my day. Fuck everyone
I
else.
don't
Cause I,
fucking know, dude. That's a lot of weight to get through between the two of them. Holy shit.
holy shit. All right. So there, okay, I won't use the word, but that's a good angle for content is to be the guy that's not going to be doing the mainstream shit. You're going to be going out there playing the weird stuff and you're successful at it. And that's something to be applauded in the current climate where so many people who are doing content creation are just about being commercial and playing the big game and getting a fucking sponsorship for playing the big game and shit. And you do your thing and you're cool doing it. You're successful doing it. That's to be applauded. And I just last night, okay, I was curious what you were up to, and I went and watched your archive stream of you doing. I don't know what the name of the game was, with the pickaxes. You're climbing all over the place. What's it called?
Lorne's Lure.
Horn's Lure. And dude, I watched 5 minutes of it. I'm cracking up. Like you're funny as shit. Your commentary's funny, and I will tell you this: you helped me in that early year, that 2017, that year when I was trying to become an interactive streamer. Watching your streams gave me kind of like a base level knowledge of how to balance gameplay with talking with an audience because I had never done it before. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing, you know? And you're good at it. You're playing the game, and man, that's an intensive game. You got to be paying attention, but you're going and you're reading chat, and then you're back to the game and you're reading chat, and you're holding conversations, and you're really good at that. That's like your real strong point, I feel, is that you've become a really great master level interactive streamer with these games that otherwise would be pretty hard to play. And so congrats on that. And, funny as shit. Like watching you for 5 minutes, I'm cracking up just watching your stuff last night. And it was like I never left. It was like I was still watching you from 2017 and enjoying the stuff that you're doing. So good on you for that.
Well, I appreciate it. Thanks. Just remember what I said, though. Like, if you're genuine about the learning from me in the stream, the Derek thing rubs me the wrong way in a big way. I think that you said like, where should a line be drawn for streamers and YouTubers, right?
Right.
It depends, but you style yourself as an interactive person now. Now you talk to your viewers every day. You should feel an obligation to not have like predators around them, right? And of course, you don't know everything. Of course, it's unreasonable to expect. If once you start getting a certain number of people, and some of them are going to be bad. I've had bad people in my chat, but like once you find out, even if it's from a source that you don't necessarily trust, you got to do your due diligence with it,
And now I know that. And for me, it was always being on the defensive, and that's my fault. It's being so defensive because it's coming from a detractor. If it had come from literally anyone else first, I probably would have looked into it. But the fact that it came from the detractors first, I go into defense mode. I get into my fucking turtle shell. It's like, nah, fuck this. I'm not going to pay attention. I'm not going to pay attention. It's like almost like a thing with me. Like, I'm purposefully not going to pay attention because that would give them something. But in this case, that was the wrong thing to do. And I acknowledge that now. I made a mistake. Apologize to my community. You know, again, here, I'll do it this way. Thank you to whoever it was who looked into it and exposed it. It was the right thing to do. And thank you for doing it.
All righty. That's good. See, you just gotta, it's baby steps. Obviously, you know, people are not gonna be like, oh yeah, Phil's turned over a new leaf because of that. But you gotta, if you want to be better, you just gotta keep doing stuff like that. Just gotta keep trying. Just gotta keep improving. Be thankful for the people who pay your bills. Make sure, maybe you should do like an event every once in a while where you turn all of like this, none of the fucking bullshit about like vests and hats and goals, just no money. Just have like, I don't know, do a community night or something. Like that one time you played World of Warcraft and everyone was fucking you for like 3 hours. And you think you'd be able to laugh at something like that now?
Here's the thing, as long as that's the case, yes. Like, if we know that's the purpose of it, like the fuck with Phil night, sure. The thing that upset me about that, because it was a event where people had paid to see it happen. If I remember, maybe I'm misremembering, but I think what it was it was like early on in my Patreon, and it was a goal where people had pledged they want to see me play World of Warcraft. Seriously, it wasn't like fuck with Phil. It was like, we want to see Phil enjoy an MMO. And the fact that that happened actually upset a lot of people because they wanted to see me play it, and I couldn't even get past the fucking tutorial area because they were killing all the low-level mobs. I couldn't even pass the introduction missions. So, but no, like now, to do something that's the purpose, just to fuck around, I think that would actually be pretty darn funny. Again, as long as it doesn't go into the realm of, you know, something like really fucked up. Like, you know, people going in there, now they're insulting family members, they're doxing people, because they do that shit too. They'll go in there and start fucking trying to throw out shit on the stream. It's like, oh my God, you know. I did do some community nights in Street Fighter 6 last year. For about a month I did them. Like once a week. It would be, hey, just come play me. I'm opening a lobby. Play me in Street Fighter 6. I enjoyed it, but actually my viewers didn't, because they said, well, you're beating everyone up. You're too good at Street Fighter. So it's just you beating people up all night. It's not entertaining. So I stopped doing it. But I'm actually considering doing stuff like that with Call of Duty next month, where we might have a night where join the lobby and we all play together, and who cares if people troll or whatever. It's just to fuck around. It's not serious business, you know. That's a good suggestion.
Yeah, you could just get like a mod or something to make sure that nobody's doing any doxing or whatever, and just let the rapscallions run free.
All right, well, we're pretty much coming to the end of our time. Is there anything else you want to say or bring up before we conclude here?
No, not in particular. I think that's everything from my side.
Dude, I want to say I really appreciate your time. I really appreciate you coming on. As you can see, no one knew how this was going to go. I feel like this was an incredibly productive conversation. If you know, ever in the future, you know, you want to talk about something again, feel free to reach out. I'm down. You know, and I guess we'll just see what the future holds, right? That's what the important thing is. You know, now that I'm trying to change for the better, you know, see what happens, and hopefully I am learning, and hopefully this will be a learning experience from having this conversation. I'm ever moving forward better. And I really appreciate your time, man.
Sure thing. Thanks for having me.
All right, thank you so much, and bye-bye. See you later.
Take it easy.
All right, well, guys, that was pretty interesting, was it not? That was very interesting. Again, I had no idea how that was going to go at all. I didn't know what topics he was going to want to talk about, you know, and I'm happy that he brought up the shit he did, quite frankly. You know, and that's the thing. People don't want to believe that. They want to think that Phil's going to be offended because someone's bringing up a topic or whatever. I'm not offended. Couldn't be further from the truth.
Tipping me helps me more than anything.